Hi, hello, it's Nikki and welcome to my messy bookshelf. Today I am just giving a quick recap of what I have been reading this week. I am still participating in Victober 2024, which is a reading event here on Booktube where you read Victorian literature for the month of October, and I am enjoying it immensely so far. I finished 2 books, and one of them was a carryover from last week. It took me most of the week to read it because it was a chunker, but that is The Pickwick Papers by Charles Dickens. And this book, I have already filmed a video with my thoughts on this book, so I will try not to talk too much about it. This book follows Mr. Pickwick and his friends as they go on a series of adventures around the country and around the city of London. Just gathering anecdotes and knowledge and things because they are very learned men, and compiling them into their little notebooks to release papers, as learned men did in those days. So this book was incredibly funny, incredibly thoughtful. I adored this book. I loved the characters, I loved the plot, I loved how thoughtful it was, and I just enjoyed it so much. This is one I will happily reread in the future. It was so fun and funny, and I just smile thinking about it because I enjoyed it so much. So, a series of frolics throughout the country with friends and new friends and strangers as well, but also a tale of, those less fortunate than us. So it was a wonderful combination of those things, and I loved it a lot. So yep, this took me most of the week to read, and like I said, I will happily reread this. If anyone ever wants to do a buddy read of this, I will reread this happily. But that was the first thing that I finished. And then I did finish one other book, which I am very happy that I read, and that is The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. And this particular copy is a TBR veteran on my shelf. This has been sitting on my shelf for actual years. And this book, I'm sure most of us are familiar with it, even if we haven't read it, but this book follows a young man who has a painting, and he does not age or show any of the suffering or things that typically affect a person's appearance through suffering, through violence, through wickedness, or the things that we do. So the picture ages and takes the brunt of all the things that life throws at this young man. And he himself stays young and beautiful. And that is all I will say about that, because I had always known that that was what this book was about. But there were a couple little twists in here that I was not expecting. So it was very thought-provoking, I will say that. There was a lot of wickedness and scandalousness in this book that I did enjoy reading about, but it really made me think a lot. So I really enjoyed it, though I did not enjoy it as much as The Pickwick Papers, because The Pickwick Papers had me cracking up and laughing and smiling and brought tears to my eyes, whereas this one really made me think very deeply about some things. It was incredibly sad in some parts. So enjoyed it. I am thrilled that I finally finished this after having it on my shelf for years. This copy was very pretty. It is a very nice looking copy, but I will say that I did not enjoy how stiff it was. It's not floppy at all. It just wants to close. But enjoyed it anyway, and I am happy that I read it, as I said. And that is all for what I have finished. This one, while Pickwick Papers fulfills my prompt for reading a serialized work, this one doesn't necessarily fulfill a prompt for Victober. However, I think at a stretch, it could fulfill the prompt to read a Victorian book where religion is a component of the story, because there is a great deal of religion talked about in this novel, and there is also Mr. Dorian Gray himself dabbling with different religions, and I think a lot of the wickedness in this novel could be put down to a lack of religion and a lack of morals. So that is all I will say about that. I am planning to read A Study in Scarlet for that prompt, but if I don't, I think that this kind of fulfills the prompt, you know. But that is all that I finished, and on to what I am reading next, and that is Something Wicked This Way Comes. I have had a few people tell me that this is what I should read next. It has been recommended to me a bunch of times, and I have read the prologue only so far. Seems very mysterious, and all I know is that it deals with a mysterious circus, which I am here for, and it is Ray Bradbury, so it has to be good, right? But that is what I am reading next, or what I am currently reading, and I am not sure what I'm going to read after that. But that is it for this week's weekly reading recap, and I thank you so much if you have made it to the end of this video. I would love to hear what you all are reading, and yeah, I thank you, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.